Smith may be convinced she would be let out. According to the New York Post, she was, quote, hard at work finding sugar daddies willing to bankroll her life on the outside. Smith has carried on sexual and romantic conversations with at least a dozen men in the past 3 years, according to prison call recordings. She has another 2 years until her next parole hearing. Joining me now, NewsNation's correspondent-at-large, Geraldo Rivera, who is also one of the pioneers of covering crime. Geraldo, you followed this case at the time. Did she even have a shot today at release?
Well, probably not the first time, Dan, but I wouldn't discount the possibility going forward now that every 2 years they have to review her incarceration, her sentence. But I remember the case so clearly, and just that excellent summary of it, bringing back all those feelings of, first of all, the black guy defense. The black guy did it. I remember how that became almost a joke in society after she made that tearful plea about the black guy doing it. And lots of black guys I know laughed about it in a bittersweet way. And then there was the boyfriend motive. It did it to be with the boyfriend who didn't want children, which sounded so creepy, to say the least. But the worst of it is, and the thing that really this anniversary brings back to me, is the 6 minutes. It's the time the two children strapped in the back seat were probably alive as that car first floated, and then inevitably began sinking, and the poor kids. You could imagine the terror and the dark, and just any sympathy you have. And she was a sympathetic figure in the sense that she did have the childhood sex abuse and teen sex abuse and so forth. But none of that can forgive the torture that she subjected her children to.
Do you think she's trying to sort of pull a Menendez here, sort of say that her history of having been sexually abused should change the way people view it because we've changed the way we look at these issues?
Maybe, and ironically, they happen both in the same time frame, as does the O.J. Simpson. So that was, you called me a pioneer of that. That's because of the circumstance and these extraordinary crimes that came down the pike all around the same time. But in her situation, maybe, that went into the sum total of it. But the fact that she lied so, with such a straight face and put on the crocodile tears as the prosecutor suggested, and to hear David, her husband, recounting the torture, and imagine how he feels low on these 3 decades, standing by her side as she pleaded for the children's return. It's just it's one of those cases that just makes you want to take a shower.
And David Smith's daughter actually talked today about they would have been her half-brothers. This is what she had to say.
What I had stolen from me was 2 older brothers, the good and the bad of having older siblings. And I now try to use my life as a way to live for them.
The problem, Geraldo, she really has no one defending her, right? I mean, she has kind of no one on her side in the context of this case.
Well, I think that probably was true initially, but since, as many long-term incarcerated people do, she's found a way to cope in her way, if the New York Post reporting is correct. She said this network of inquiries and entreaties to potential paramours, people interested in having sex with her, or bankrolling her appeals and so on. They get a life. I think the jury did the right thing in not condemning her. I would have been very hesitant to see her, maybe just for sexism. I would have been very hesitant to see her executed. But a life sentence without parole would have been appropriate.
Yeah.
After 30 years, you know, the reason South Carolina changed the law was because it seemed too lenient in a case as horrible as this. Just remember the 6 minutes.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.